What's going on? You are looking at Bob's. Welcome back to the show, everyone. I am your host, Jesse Massey.
With Connor Ashley.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good day to send Bobs.
Straight up.
Yep.
It is the new year. New year, new Bob's.
New year, new Bobs.
Yeah. We've got a good show for you today, and we are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I don't think either of us really partied too hard last night.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I didn't fall asleep until about like 2:30. Then I had to wake up at around 5 because my girlfriend likes it when I call her when she's in Russia for New Year's.
Oh, that is nice.
So I was up at 2, I was up at 5, and now I am up again. But I still surprisingly have a ton of energy. And we have a good post to start here with today. This is a business idea that I thought would be interesting to pull apart. In the event that you at home are someone who is looking to build something for yourself, but even if you get through this business idea here and you think to yourself, oh, that's not really what I would build for myself, the thing that I think will still be useful is being able to take a look at how we work through this process-wise, how we approach the sales side of it, the marketing side of it, so that you can ideally either apply this to yourself and just go build this product or something else that you're working on. So I'll start this one off. This is from an account by the name of Idea Browser. The market is exploding. Someone build this in to a 10 million fintech idea, please. 57 million Americans are freelancers. 50% of the workforce will be freelance by 2027. We've seen this with the changes in AI coming up. Freelancers are terrible at money management. They don't allocate for taxes, retirement, or emergencies. Every dollar that hits their account gets spent. They're building businesses that ignore their financial future. What if you were to create something that is called Pay Yourself First? Automated savings for freelancers who can't rely on HR to do it for them automatically. What you do, your software connects a bank, invoicing platform. Every payment that lands splits automatically. And number one, it puts in a reserve savings account for taxes in April so that April doesn't screw you over every single year. It auto saves to an emergency fund. It auto saves to a retirement account, and the remaining goes to you. And in the event that freelancers are earning, anywhere between $80,000 to $250,000, they ultimately do have enough to save meaningfully, but not enough for $300 an hour for an advisor to do this for them. So, you charge $19 to $49 a year. This costs less than one advisory session and runs 365 days a year. And now the recommendation here in terms of getting customers, it says go through FreshBooks / Wave integrations, YouTube creators teaching freelance finance and answering the Reddit question asked every week, how much should I save for taxes? Who's going to build this? So before I get into how I would necessarily market this, what are your thoughts here? How do you think this is a good idea? And would you?
I think
how would you market it?
For how I market it, that I might have to take another minute to think about, but I think this is a phenomenal idea. There's nothing revolutionary about this. It's just copying what W-2 workers already, they get, the benefit that they have. For those non-Americans maybe out there, the W-2 workers, that's like the typical, lost that day. There you go.
Okay, well, we're still good.
Maybe something isn't connected as well. It's like the basic employee, basically. That right? Mm-hmm. The W-2.
Yeah,
that's the.
This is how long we've been out of like the actual job economy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what W-2. Well, actually, you're Canadian too, so
I don't know if it's the same in Canada. I might have a different term exactly, or in Europe or wherever. But what that is like, okay, the employer basically is going to give you your salary, right? Mm-hmm. So then all these taxes and everything like that is already taken off or moved.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So in that's phenomenal for these freelancers that are out or like maybe move out of country or whatever they get up to. They have the ability through this application to not need to be concerned about, what that is. They can handle it up front with the money coming in. They don't have to look at it. That makes their life, I think, a lot easier. Right?
Yeah. I think if I were to market something like this, the way that I would go about it is probably TikTok. I think if you, and this is in the context of either you doing this bootstrapped yourself or having like a budget that you can blow on this. Let's say you were bootstrapping it. I would just start by making, somewhere in the realm of like 4 to 8 TikToks a day. I know that sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of really great ways that you can automate this process, not by using N8N agents or whatever, but just like using softwares that help make video editing a lot faster, for example. But pump out 4 to 8 videos a day, specifically talking about this product and cater the scripts in such a way where it caters to the freelancer. So like, for example, you could make a video, your first video of the day could be something like, guys, I've been like doing the digital nomad thing for years, and every single year tax time totally screws me over. But I just found this crazy app that auto saves for me with every paycheck that comes in so that I never have to worry about tax time again. Let me show you how it works. And then you like go through like a little product demo of it. That could be your first video.
Totally.
The second video that you do that day, maybe you even target a different pain point. Instead of taxes, you target the retirement angle. The third video, you target the emergency fund angle. And with each of these, see if you can target a different kind of archetype of digital nomad.
Yeah.
Right? There's sort of the forgetful one who just focuses on like the client delivery and doesn't really think about like the back end of like retirement. Focus on the digital nomad who's really kind of starting to think about these things and is like, oh shit, like I'm not saving for retirement. I actually really need to do this.
Yeah.
So like those two are very different archetypes.
Very different. But this is a huge value add in that sense. It's like you can go out, you can start interviewing actual freelancers, right? Having the conversation to figure out what it is that they're looking for, or like that, or not they're looking for, but their biggest stresses, right? Their biggest concerns that they have, and then be able to take those. You collected that data and then be able to put those into the buckets, right? And so it's not just about taxes, but this can be so much more of like, hey, you get paid and like everything in your life that actually matters to you gets covered. Right?
Yeah.
Because now it's like, oh, the money comes in, the piece goes to taxes, this is like allocated for food, this is rent, this is your savings in the future, or like if you want to have kids, whatever it might be, you get to prioritize it. You could potentially have a customizable dashboard as a upgrade or like a higher tier, right? Where you can like add some of these other components in. Why would that not work? Right?
Yeah. Thinking about another marketing angle is if you're listening from like Thailand or Bali or any of these digital nomad hubs, I'm about to give you actually a fucking tight idea. Here we go. All you do is do street interviews, and you walk up to digital nomads and you're like, hey, can I ask like what you do to make money to live in Bali or whatever? They're going to answer. And then the next question you follow up with is like, that's awesome. Like, how much are you saving for retirement from each paycheck? I guarantee you, if the person's being honest, like 90% of the time, they're going to be like, oh, I could probably do better at that. I'm not doing too much of it.
Yeah.
And they might lie to you and just be like, oh yeah, I'm doing well with that. But like, regardless of which answer they give you, just be like, oh yeah, no, the reason why the reason why I'm interviewing people is because I'm with this company XYZ and we automate retirement savings for digital nomads. And then video ends.
Yep.
That's it. Because at the beginning of that video, it's what the market already wants to watch. It's just like, oh, like someone who lives in Bali. I wonder how they like.
How are they managing? How did they get there? How are they managing their finances?
Exactly. And then from there, the second question, which is the retirement one, is then the one that appeals to the digital nomad who's already in this place. And the cool thing here is if someone gets to the end of that video and they've stuck around all the way to the end to see like what the call to action is, because like they saw the middle question and they thought to themselves, oh yeah, I could probably start like saving for retirement. It'd be nice if there was like some sort of like tool. It sounds like that's where this video is going. And then they finish the video. That data to Instagram or wherever the video is, what platform, is going to tell Instagram like, oh, hey, we should show it to more of these people. And that's how it starts to actually spread in the proper digital nomad community. So again, you hook people in with like the bullshit that they already like to watch. And then you sneak in like the veggies and greens on the back end. And you just use the organic algorithm to use that back-end data to retarget to everyone. That's the way that I do it. You do like 4 street interviews a day and just go stand outside of like a co-working space. That'll take you 30 minutes. It'll take you another 30 minutes to edit the videos, another 5 minutes to upload, and you could blow this up to something crazy.
Once you actually build the app.
Yeah. Exactly. Which I'm less, actually, let me, before we go on to the next thing, again, my side of things is always going to be marketing.
Yeah.
Right. When it comes to building this, is it like, and this is just coming from a place of like pure like ignorance. Is there a way to vibe code a minimum viable product version of this and sell it? Is that how vibe coding works? Or do you do like an MVP vibe code and then get a developer to come in and kind of do like a proper build out? How does that generally work?
I would. Some of the vibe coding things that are out here right now are very impressive. Like they've gotten so much better over the past 6 months. So at this point, I would say that the MVP that you can bring out will function. Like you can actually have customers going through it if you set it up right, of course, to be able to handle scale, right? Depending on if these ads that you're going to be running, or like the not the ads,
Like if you get
the
like 2
organic
million
content.
views on something.
Exactly,
like-
the organic content you have going on TikTok or wherever it might be. If that actually starts taking off, you might be a little bit in trouble with your MVP, depending on how you have it set up. I think it is possible to have it set up to handle scale, but there's probably a good chance that you'll run into, oh, we hit our number that like that our systems are capable of handling here, and now we need somebody to come in and like to build this out properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, yeah, there you have it. Again, I developed a SaaS product last year, and I did it through like a developer. The developer was pretty solid. But with that, to give you some context, had I paid full price for it, I would have paid somewhere around 20K for the product. And I think at this point, based on what I'm seeing, like these tools being capable of doing,
Yeah.
I probably could have just vibe coded it myself.
$20.
Yeah, it's crazy.
$20 a
So
month.
between that, you have access to TikTok, do some street interviews, blow this shit up to the moon. Shall we go on to the next one?
And if you're in Bali and you're going around and actually doing that and interviewing people, hit us up. We wanna see you start coming together.
You can interview us. It'll be great, and I'll tell you the truth, which is like I'm not saving for retirement. I need to do a little bit better than I think you're probably much farther ahead than me on that.
I've done not a bad job of, I wouldn't say saving for retirement, but I have some money set aside. But
Investing.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
general,
Investing
yeah.
in general. And then, but for strategic things or specific things, like we're talking about the different buckets, we'll move on here. But when we're talking about the different buckets, like I have a kid coming, or like my first, son on the way in like 2 months from now. And up until like, after we realized we were pregnant, that's the first consideration I had for like, I knew I wanted to have kids before, but to start saving up money to be comfortable with not having to like pull from, any other buckets to fund the life and school and whatever it might be for kids. Yeah, I just started a whole new,
He went all in on Doge.
went all in on Doge.
Yeah,
Should have gone all in on Doge.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's cool. Again, blow it up. Do some street interviews. It'll be Gucci. If you're in Bali,
Yep.
hit us up. We're happy to do that. Okay, so from here, this is more of just like sort of a transitory story, but Warren Buffett, last day at Berkshire Hathaway,
Yeah.
end of an era. How long was he there? I mean, it was like 50 years or something crazy,
Yeah.
maybe even 60 or something.
Much longer than we've been alive.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. I thought this would be Connor was the one who suggested this one,
Yeah.
but I thought it would be good to talk about because the investing philosophy, and this is coming from someone that doesn't know too much about investing in general. Again, you're the resident expert on that front, but the takeaway from everything that I've consumed of Buffett is that the number one thing that you want to make sure of when you're investing, and this is even true if you're starting your own company, is how do you avoid loss? How do you avoid major losses? Because like when it comes to percentages, if you're in a place where you have $1,000 and you lose $500 on a bad investment, whether that's buying a piece of equipment that you didn't really need, I am the king of that. You should see this studio. I have drones that I haven't used in like the last year. Whether it's that, or if it is in the realm of like just proper investment in the stock market or companies, that kind of thing.
Yep.
When you lose that $500, you lost 50% of your original nest egg. But in order to get back to that $1,000, you have to have 100% gains, which is not good mathematically. If you lose 50% and you have to make 100% back in order to get 50%, it's just the math isn't math.
Yeah.
So I think the reason I kind of wanted to briefly at least touch on this today is with everything that you do, whether you're trying to get into e-com, whether you're trying to scale an offer, whether you're trying to do investments on the side, always go into these things with a lot of care, a lot of attention. Know your market. Never invest in something that you don't understand. That was another big
Yep.
Buffett idea. And be very, very protective over making sure that you don't experience losses, at least to the best of your ability.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a a huge factor. I mean, in business, in every aspect that you're going into, that's loss protection is one of the first things you want to do, right? As much as we all may become, especially in the crypto side of things, moon boys and want to see everything just like go up only. I would hope this last year in 2025 have shown you guys that is not the case. But if like scroll up a little bit here, that one, just to see like the Berkshire Hathaway price here. Since
I don't know
he's
if
got in,
I don't know if you're going to be able to see it
that's
on
not
screen.
Oh no,
Yeah,
hit
no.
max on there.
Max?
Yeah, right. Just down to the right, a little bit. Nope, up.
This is how little I know about
Yeah,
stocks.
right there.
Max.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Yeah, man, up and to the right. When I'm talking about up and to the right, this might
Oh,
be
yeah.
breaking the rule a little bit. I mean, yeah, Warren did an amazing job there in his lifetime that he spent in this company, sending it up and to the right. Huge valuation of his of Berkshire here.
Yeah.
That's so Oracle of Omaha is out. So
Yeah.
it's
40 years.
40 years. Yeah,
Yeah. Respect.
respect for sure.
Respect to the patriarchy. Am I right, fam?
And it's a changing of the guard. It's things are shifting here. People in positions running the show right now, or it's altering. So we got opportunity. You got opportunity if you're relatively new in this space to carve your own path here.
Yeah. Who's taking over now? Charlie Munger?
No.
I know. I'm just kidding. Sorry. That was a bad joke. Sorry. That was rude.
No.
Okay. We're going to go to the next one. All right. Cool. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Next story. Kind of similar to that. You left us off with a good segue. Sorry, that joke was too out of pocket. I'm so
You're like,
sorry. It was too
why
good
am I
though.
so bad?
Yeah. So it's a good segue though. Changing of the guard. So something that I've been seeing over the last year and a half is, again, we talked about this a little bit on the show yesterday. Creators who have large audiences have traditionally over the last, I'd probably say 8 years, been in a place where they can speak with some level of authority about what's monetizing, what's not, how to launch an offer, what's not, because they just have enough eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
This post I thought was very, very well put because that has changed a lot over the last 2 years. So this post is from Nick. He puts in quotation marks. As a creator, this is what I would do. What I would do is this, and then he says, "Bro, you're broke. Stop talking." This is true. Again, I don't want to name any names, but there are a number of content creators, specifically here in Bali. Some of these guys have worked for 3 years putting together their course.
Okay.
Have had 3 to 4 team members that they're paying monthly in order to do it, like full-time video editors.
Oh, wow.
Having a business partner that splits everything with them 50-50 because that person has essentially put in years and years of free time because they believed in the product.
Yep.
And they they do their release, they have a certain projected outcome, and they can't even sell 40% of inventory because it's just kind of the wrong vibe of the brand. They're not an educator, they're more an entertainer, and most of their audience is based outside of the United States.
Yeah.
And it's just funny, especially here in Bali. For whatever reason, it seems like the influencer is still kind of a cool archetype, just because most people here are influencers.
Yeah.
And they know how to make great content. And as a result, everyone kind of looking from the outside in still thinks that influencers are making a shit ton of money. Bro, it is a fucking bloodbath out there. And again, the next 2 posts that we're going to go into today kind of build off of this general thesis. But for anyone that really knows anything, dude, the creator model as it has historically existed is on its way out.
Yeah, it's changing for sure. It's so what's changing though? Are they needing to actually be valuable, or not just be the aesthetic?
Yeah, I think a couple of things are changing. This is part of the reason why we're actually we've created this channel, right?
Yeah.
The audience of people online who are buying programs or buying products, the audience has become significantly more sophisticated, right? People have been burned. People have purchased a bad course and been what the fuck is this? And then they're automatically more skeptical going into whatever next thing that they're buying.
Yeah.
So this idea of when you build out like a following online, you have such a strong relationship with your audience. Your audience will do like anything. Like
They're
this
just gonna
is
follow you into anything. Yeah.
yeah, this is again. This was true back like probably at the very end, like 2023 and before that. But at this point, you know, Marcus Brownlee just had an app that he developed that I think you paid $9.99 a month, and what it would do is it would sort of cycle through really beautiful and aesthetic iPhone backgrounds for your computer.
Okay.
And again, people like create huge creators. This dude's like one of the biggest creators in the world, especially in the tech space. He launched it, and the general thesis behind most of these products is that the creator follower relationship is so strong that it's much easier for a creator to be able to monetize something like this than it is for like Xerox to do like a marketing campaign for like their copy machines or whatever.
Yeah.
Like people care more about like their parasocial relationship that they have with the creator than with some regular brand.
Yep.
And you know, I think he had it up for about a year, and they just shut it down. And the reason for that is because when you really take a look at the economics, what someone is deciding is not like how much they love Marcus Brownlee and his iPhone wallpapers. It's whether or not they think Marcus Brownlee's like iPhone wallpapers competes with Netflix, which is like basically almost every movie in existence at the tap of a button. And when you start taking a look at like the value comparison between the two things, obviously Netflix wins, obviously Spotify wins. The creators are really starting to run into a wall here where, you know, the rose tinted glasses that audiences have been wearing for the last like 10 years has started to come off. And, you know, as a result of that, again, they're more sophisticated. There are new entrants into the market who are coming in specifically doing social media for the purpose of marketing and sales. They're not just trying to make like entertainment content and then being like, oh, I should monetize this on the back end somehow. And then they build out some like, you know, product that doesn't really match the audience. But again, they have the goodwill, the eyeballs that they can kind of sell anything. It's no longer working just because, again, the market is more sophisticated.
Yeah, the ability to just kind of copy and paste some of those, let's call them basic info products or what other things out there, and actually have them sell, right? That's not happening so much.
Yeah, not so much.
There's a comment from the Never Pay Tax under here.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
name too. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Never pay tax. This guy is actually quite funny.
Is he?
So from here, I think this probably takes us into the next thing. There are a couple of ways that if you are looking to go into content creation and to do so successfully and to do so in a way that's significantly more profitable than many of these content creators who are ultimately entertainers who are trying to build out a product on the back end but do so unsuccessfully, there's a really specific way to do it. And I thought this and the following post would be a good way to get into it. So this guy spent $47K testing YouTube Shorts versus long form for client acquisition. And I thought these numbers that he brings up here were really, really useful in terms of just demonstrating what the reality is. So when it comes to YouTube Shorts, and this was the same with my, I'm wondering if we should fix this because it keeps going out.
Yeah.
We're gonna riff. We're gonna keep this live. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
There you go.
But you're gonna lose the middle screen for a minute, I think. Yeah.
I mean,
Just give us a second,
we've
baby.
been losing it multiple times. It is what it is.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna use this one because this one has a better track record of not doing that. Say something.
You want me to read through
Speak a
here?
little Chinese for him, Connor.
You want me to read through here? Or
no.
You got a plan for what you're talking about here. You got YouTube dialed in so much more than I do.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Unless you
about
wanna
YouTube.
riff on the realities of YouTube Shorts funnels. Okay.
I haven't lived that life, to be honest with you.
You should be happy. You haven't lived that life. YouTube Shorts path is a struggle bus. Okay, we are set up. I think we should be good. We'll see if it
Looks smooth right
keeps
now.
going. Yeah.
Let's run it.
Okay, YouTube Shorts. This was my experience running a funnel through YouTube Shorts, and this is the experience of anyone that I've spoken to who is doing this successfully. There are a lot of shit talkers in the market who say that like there's no way to run a YouTube Shorts funnel successfully. That's not true, but it's just a lot more work, which we'll see here. So what you do is you start with short form, and where you lead that short form In this guy's experience, in terms of how it works best, is the short form leads to long form. The long form leads to probably some sort of free community on school where you spend time sort of warming people up, getting them to consume the Kool-Aid that makes them want to buy specifically, right? And then you upsell them to some sort of low ticket product or low ticket community, which then upsells them to high ticket. Pretty straightforward as a funnel, right? The way that I ran it back in 2023, when the program brought in about 500K over the course of like 6-ish months, was we did short form. We actually didn't use long form at all. We ran all of that traffic to my Instagram DMs where they would send like a code word. And this was before ManyChat was a thing too. So there was no way of like really automating this. So I had 4 DM setters going through every single code word that was coming in and starting a conversation with these people, warming them up. And to give you an idea of, like, again, my brand was really at the very end of this period of time where you could build whatever brand, and as long as you had enough eyeballs, you could sell anything to them. It's really the very end of this. And as a result of that, like, again, we made around 500K in sales, but I'll just ask you this. How many DM conversations do you think my setters had to have in order to close 500K, which was around 130 sales or so? I don't think we've ever talked about these numbers, you and
At 130 sales?
Uh-huh. How many DM conversations? This number is going to make you sad.
It's gonna make me sad.
Gonna make you sad.
I feel like I want to say like 10,000.
More.
It's more than that.
More.
Yeah,
30.
30,000.
30,000.
Yeah.
To convert,
What is that conversion rate there?
it's like
that's not so high.
0.0000
Yeah.
one or some shit like
Yeah.
that. It's crazy. And again, like if I were to go back and do like a short form funnel, even if I were to skip long form, I would be doing the content specifically around a very specific problem. Like I wouldn't go back into doing that, right? But this is the very end of like the goodwill in the market, and these are the numbers that you had to run into. Now it's even worse. It is significantly worse. It's not even close. But again, the way that we did it is run everything to the DM, and then from there we run all of the traffic to a VSL that was in the realm of like 8 minutes or so. And then DM setter goes back and forth with them a little bit more, gets them on a sales call sells them. That was the funnel. We did around 500K in 6 months with that. I think something like this is probably more. It would require a lot less work with the setters. In order to run that sales team, I was overpaying this in retrospect, but I was paying 33% of everything that was coming in to the sales manager, to the closer, and to the setters.
Yeah.
To run that. So again, even if you were to
All ran through your own account, your own name.
all run through the account, yeah. This even had its own problems. We'll get into this next thing. I won't do too much of a departure, but I had a problem with the sales manager. We'll get into that in a future episode. But it's a lot of work. If you were to do something like the short form lead to long form, lead to community, that is at least a little bit more automated. Even the upsell from community to low ticket, probably relatively automated. So that what you then do is you put your setters and your closers at the very end between low ticket and high ticket, so that you're dealing with much more intent focused buyers, and ideally much more competent buyers, depending on how your funnel is set up.
Your content's doing a lot more of the work there, right?
Yeah. Instead of the DM.
Yeah.
person.
So in that example with the short form, long form community aspect, your content is still the main driver. That's the engine, and you're just having an ascension model as far as touch points with them, right?
Yeah.
They're spending more time with you. You're hitting them with more content, right?
Yeah. And again, I did not have the luxury of posting that kind of content on my channel, because if I posted the kind of content for the product that I was selling on the back end, people in my audience would have been like, what the hell is this? Like, this has nothing to do with what you generally talk about. So I really could only post about my product per platform once a month. But again, we were doing pretty wild numbers for just posting once a month per platform for the product. So it was back in the heyday of social media. Now, with what Shane has described here, short form, long form, community, low ticket, high ticket, his critique here is that YouTube Shorts funnels break because they are difficult to set up, they're difficult to maintain, more effort to sustain, and one weak link destroys everything, and this is true, right? If you don't go about your long form content, for example, in a very specific way, like you're going in and being like, okay, this video is going to lead to this video based on the outro and the video that you can click on the top right hand button when the video ends, and then all of this kind of goes towards like a VSL or a series of VSLs that I have hosted on my YouTube, and then all this traffic goes into like a newsletter or community or whatever. Like, if something in that process breaks, and this is a 5-step process, right? Like, everything breaks. It's a lot of work to create short form content. It's a lot of work to create long form content. It's a lot of work to create content consistently for a community to keep people interested. And then it's a lot of work to, keep a low ticket and high ticket community. Maybe low ticket less so, because you can just let that be sort of like a self. The offer just kind of takes care of itself. It's probably just like info or whatever. But if you're running short form, long form community and high ticket, like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right. His recommendation in order to try and get around that is we'll go around the tweaking. That part's a little bit less interesting. But what he says here, adding long form to short form later is brutal. This is 100% true. Can you guess why the reason would be for that, Connor, based on what you know, maybe from my own channel or like what you've heard from other creators? Why would you not want to start with short form on a channel and then try and build into long form?
Just the time that people are used to spending with you.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
They're used to just a quick little hit, and then they carry on to the next thing, or they want everything compressed into such a short manner that to actually sit and be there with you for an hour or 3 hours or whatever it might be, it's like, well, this isn't. Why would I watch this when I can get what feels like the same amount of value in a short little blurb?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
When it comes to YouTube, especially, like, when people consume content on YouTube Shorts, they're in a very different mindset than when they are on like YouTube proper.
Long form, yeah.
When I get onto my YouTube Shorts, I'm there to consume slop. I'm there to consume things that don't force me to think and where I don't really feel like I'm learning. I'm just there to kind of be entertained.
Yeah.
And
Turn your brain off.
turn my brain off,
versus
exactly.
some of the long form, you're actually potentially
I'm searching for a podcast
seeking
in order to
something.
learn something, in order
Yeah.
to engage with it. Exactly. It's just a completely different mindset. And this is something that is so well understood in like the community of real operators inside of, like, let's say, YouTube automation. A lot of these guys, part of their business model is going around and buying channels that are already monetized so that they can skip having to build out a channel from like 0 followers to however many followers in order to get monetized. They just want to start now.
Yeah.
And part of the criteria that they actively put in their calls to action of like, hey, if you have a channel that you want to sell, hit me up. Part of the criteria that they put in the call to action is if your channel was monetized primarily with Shorts traffic, I'm not interested. And it's because everyone understands that trying to convert short form traffic, because of the nature, the different nature of consumption, because everything that you just said is just like, if you're used to interacting with me online for 30 seconds, there's no indication that you're interested in interacting with me for 20 to 40 minutes, right? Because I'm training you not to, literally, with the type of content that I'm creating. So again, trying to add long form later is really, really difficult. So you either need to start with long form, which is a harder like lift structurally, operationally. Long form content is harder to create than short form in some ways. If you start with that and then add short form as sort of like an extra thing later on down the line, great. But even if you're doing long form and short form on the same channel at the same time, if short form blows up and your long form doesn't blow up at the same time, you fucked your channel. So again, some useful insights here. Going into the sales side of it, there's this whole kind of cliche that's been thrown around over the last couple of years. Someone needs to consume 7 hours of your content in order to want to do business with you. You've probably heard this thrown around it.
Yeah, I don't know 7 hours, but at least 7 touch points. It was something like
Seven touch points,
7 hours, whatever it might be. Yeah.
Things are becoming significantly more extreme. There was another post that said, there's this guy named Alan Soltanich. I think that's how you say his name. He's one of the bigger marketers in the space. He's saying that most of the data that's actually being conducted inside of polls and that kind of thing is saying that that's gone up to 13 touch points rather than 7 like it was before.
Yep.
And again, 7 hours on YouTube consuming your content as opposed to just like seeing 7 of your videos. Like it's a bloodbath out there. But if you are doing this with long form content, if someone consumes, let's say you're the type of creator to make a bunch of 20-minute videos, right? That's 21 videos that they have to consume in order to decide to want to do business with you. It's a lot, but it's not like a crazy amount. Like I definitely consumed Jeremy Haynes middle of last year. It's weird to say that now. Middle of last year, middle of 2025. Significantly more videos than that because I came across and I was like, hey, this is like actually good stuff. If you're trying to do this with 60-second shorts, someone has to consume 420 videos of yours in order to be like, you know what, I'm going to do business with this guy. If you're creating 30-second videos, they have to consume 840 videos. If you're creating 15-second videos, like you kind of see the math, it's like 1,680 videos.
So this is regarding putting or conversions for a higher ticket offer in a sense, because
Yeah.
I would assume then still in this when you're thinking about short form, right? That's would you be able to monetize a lower ticket product?
I
right?
think this is even still in the realm of low ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when it comes to like, let's say Jeremy Haynes, or there's another guy in the space called Josh Gavin. He has a low ticket product that's like in the realm of like $100 at the beginning. It obviously ascends into something bigger on the back end. But like, in order for me to consider buying that low ticket, like I had to watch probably 3-ish hours of interviews with him. I didn't originally watch him because I wanted to buy his thing. And I was trying to watch his interviews in order to make a decision about it. I watched his content because it was just genuinely interesting and he kept kind of popping up places. And then you get to a certain point where you're like, I wonder if this guy is selling anything. And then you go look, but then you don't buy at that time, right? You still kind of like watch a couple of things that like pop up. And then finally you get to a place where you're like, okay, I should probably buy this.
Yeah.
I think 7 hours, even for low ticket, is a still like pretty good bet.
Yeah.
Again, it's a bloodbath. So anyway, he talks about that. All the numbers just don't really add up for shorts. Long form, however, kind of allows you to get around all of this, right? If you go in the direction of creating a long form funnel, you don't have to deal with the nonsense of like trying to script, for me, 28 videos a week, filming 28 videos, giving comments on 28 videos, having your social media manager upload 28 videos to, 4 or 5 different platforms. You don't have to deal with that. You deal with probably 1, if you're really going for it, 2 long form videos a week. There are certain platforms that do a pretty good job of helping you script the videos at this point. So you don't even have to write things out word for word if you're the type of person who needs a script in front of you to be able to riff on camera. And then from there, you convert them directly into high ticket sales. Because they've already spent so much time with you, you don't really need to get them into a community. You don't really need to get them into a low ticket offer if you don't want to. You can ascend them directly to high ticket, especially if it's something that you're talking about that is like a real pressure point in that person's like life or let's say business. For example, let's say you have like a compliance channel, right? Like banking compliance. And let's say your company is in a place where you're realizing that you're going to lose like whatever compliance check from like the government. And the inspector is coming within like a month or 2 and you have to like prepare the company to do XYZ. If you're a CEO or a CFO, right, you're losing sleep over this because you're like, if this does not work, my job is like actually on the line.
Yeah.
That's a real problem. If you try and go the shorts pathway, number 1, you're not going to get viral views in the shorts algorithm on like banking compliance, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to help. On top of that, if someone interacts with your brand in shorts, even if they go to your long form and they're like, oh, this is great, that type of person is not going to go to a fucking like community or low ticket offer. They're going to be like, yo, we need to fix this right now. Where's the buy now button, right? And as long as you spend enough time on screen in front of them, they're in a place by the time they hop onto the sales call where you've already pre-sold them with like 7 hours of content.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you don't have to depend on views. Your videos could literally be getting like 50 views per video, but because it's so focused on this banking compliance problem that the government comes in and deals with all of the banks in like the month of July every single year at the end of like the fiscal year or whatever. I'm just spitballing. I don't know. Like, if you know that all 50 of the views, or let's say all 10 of the views that had an average view duration of like 90% of your video, you know every single one of those people is like a qualified buyer because they wouldn't be watching the video otherwise. It is such a lower lift to do that. But in order to do this, you really have to sell something real on the back end. So I've been talking a lot.
You've been talking a lot.
Yeah, but I
I
thought
mean-
this particular, I won't do this in every episode, I don't think. But like with this like series of posts, like this is just something that I feel
It's
really
very
passionate
specific
about.
to what you've spent a lot of time on and you develop a skill set in. So it's
And there's
totally
so much bad
understandable.
information too
Yeah.
online. So many fucking idiots
Yeah.
are talking about this. Like they know what's going on and they haven't lived and breathed like watching a business fall apart because they're adhering to like the retardation that like was the case back in like 2021. You could be an idiot and still make money online in 2022. I was an idiot in 2022, 2023, made a lot of money.
So for a quick thought or tip or advice for people who are
No longer the case.
trying to do this in some form, they want to do something on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're making the decision of, hey, I want to get into long form. I want to do, or should I do short form? I see people putting out a bunch of short form and getting all kinds of views and not knowing if that converts or not. What's the best path for them? Like, is there any like a good template, like what he's talking about here, or are you saying the base thing is if whatever it is, if it's low ticket or high ticket, you want to do a good amount of long form content as the primary driver, and then on like as an add-on afterwards, and then you or during as well, you can start using the shorts basically to bring awareness to the problem to the to your ideal client that you're looking to reach out to. You bring the awareness to them, and then you already have the channel filled with the long form that they can then go to afterwards.
Well, I will say this to the viewer. This was either the perfect segue that you didn't even mean, or this is Connor's like very like subtle way of being like, motherfucker, move to the next post. So we're gonna go to the next post because it answers that perfectly. This is the Mubu one that you were looking at a little bit earlier in terms of like how to set up. This is Connor playing 4D chess with me. He's like, we got to move on to the next one. Let's keep it going.
I need to get control of that computer too. You got.
Yeah, true.
Even though it's
Yeah,
actually my computer.
just actually like be like, okay, we're actually moving
Yeah.
to the next one. It's time
I'll
to
just
move.
start scrolling for you. Okay.
Can we actually see this? Is the problem?
You have to zoom. Can you do zoom? Oh no, you said that.
No. In
Offset.
this case, I think we actually can. Yep.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So this was a good post by Mubu. I'll give him like proper credit.
Oh
No. Go back. Also, I don't want you to see my chat
Oh,
or my password. Hold on.
that's my.
Oh, that's your password actually. Yeah.
Isn't it?
See, dude, when I hit back, I don't actually know if I'm hitting back because I don't know if it's
What if you
clicking.
just hit pin recovery? What is this? I don't even know if I'm entering. If I have a pin for my X.
Okay, we're back.
There you go.
So what I was trying to do is give this guy credit, Mubu, Wiz of Ecom. He has an interesting YouTube channel.
Nice.
This is all he talks about because this is the agency that he runs.
Yeah.
And he is one of the guys online. I wouldn't say he's like the main guy that I think is like really, really good, but the videos that I've watched, and especially his X content, is really, really well suited to the type of conversation that we're having today.
Nice.
So-
When I was looking at this, one thing I was gonna just say, I mean, it would have been interesting even to, depending on how we want to go about it, right? Here we're just gonna give an overview of it or get into whatever you had in mind for this. But when I was looking at it, because it's at this first piece, you see what's the archetype, the builder, operator, and then through the other pieces as well, it's kind of split into what you're doing at this certain stage. It could have been interesting as well for us to do, to almost like redact the other pieces, right? And like, hey, we're talking about this right now.
Sorry, I kind of spaced out. Say it
know
one
what I
more
mean?
time. I was trying to move the graphics. Say it one more time.
That's totally okay. I was just like talking about, where's another one? If you go to that piece or the next one, it's split, right? You see the different.
Oh, with
colors
like
and
step one,
categories.
step two kind of thing?
Exactly. So
Uh-huh.
the person that we're talking to right now, right?
Yeah.
Where they're at, what's most relevant to them, rather than having all the information here. I mean, it is super helpful, but of course, where you're at, right? You don't need to necessarily see right out the gate the entire system.
Yeah.
I would say to get started, right? If you're an absolute beginner, you start where you're at.
I would say this because like ultimately this Mubu guy is talking to a different person than someone who's an absolute beginner.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
talking to someone who already has like institutional authority. They're already making money and they're thinking about going into like building a personal brand.
Yeah.
And my argument here is that if you are someone who doesn't really have anything going on, you should probably not go into building a personal brand. This isn't like the Casey Neistat days where if you just like start a posting, like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just inherently interesting. It's not that people like need to get value out of whatever it is that you're posting, right? So I think if you're going to make this play, have some competency.
Yes. And then in that sense, if you're going to really go at this play, ignore everything I just said and actually have the overview, right? Have the overview and the plan or the strategic map out of like what he's laid out here. Hey, this is the starting point. If your account or your branding has no followers yet, right? No engagement whatsoever, what's the type of format that you're putting out?
Yeah, and I think what I'll say next kind of caters to the beginner and caters to the person who like potentially has something going on already, right?
Yep.
Even if you're an absolute beginner and you don't really know what to build out, if you follow this format, you will at least be able to engage with the art and practice of creating content on a daily basis in a way that's much more structured and much more strategic. And even if you like apply, like you don't get success in the thing that you're building out now for your own personal brand, applying what it is that you do in that first thing to your next thing that might have a little bit more like traction, more teeth to it, is going to be much better than you just kind of like hopping online and being like, I just need to post 4 times a day and like I'm going to build in public or whatever. Like I just find it cringe and unstructured. So we won't spend like a huge amount of time going through every single portion of this, but the first step here, even before anything that he's mentioned, is really figuring out, number one, what you're good at, number 2, what you like doing, and number 3, what people will pay you for. Again, he's speaking to people who already have this figured out, but before you start playing around with content, figure those 3 things out. Because if you don't like doing the thing that you're good at and that people will pay you for, you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
You're not going to like it. If you like doing something and you're good at it, but people won't pay you for it, you're just spinning your wheels. You're just painting paintings in a room and talking to no one, right? So all 3 really need to be there. But assuming that they are, something that you and I actually ran into the other day when we were trying to kind of figure out how to approach this was choose your founder archetype.
Yeah.
Figuring out what type of person you're going to be on camera based in relation to who you view is on the other side of the camera lens watching your videos. Yeah. Because there are a couple of different ones, right? So his that he shares is the builder, sharing the journey, building in public. If you're an absolute beginner, this is a good one to start with because like you really got nothing going for you. You have to document the process. That's the only thing that you can really make content around. The other one, the operator, systems, hiring, revenue, execution, the nuts and bolts of actually running a business. 3, the educator, tactical breakdowns, frameworks, helping others with a specific how-to content. And number 4, the contrarian, challenger energy, rethinking best practices, hot takes that go against the grain. Again, we were kind of talking about this the other day. The other one that I think we added in, well, actually, no. We were wondering whether we were going to be the educator.
It was pretty much these. Yeah, I mean, it was a conversation around all of these because all of these are, you know, they're components of it, right? They're the archetypes, right? So there's pieces that I lean more towards and you lean more towards, and there's pieces I was like, I don't really want to be on that side of things. I did not want to be an educator in any format here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think with
like I don't need to teach people stuff.
Like when we sat down and did our test episode, the thing that I ran into, and I'm really seasoned on camera, right? I've spent a lot of time on camera, but I felt uncomfortable having that first kind of trial conversation with you where we tried some of these topics because I felt like I was trying to be in the operator archetype.
Yeah.
And like it just wasn't for me. It was very clear from that first like conversation that it wasn't for me. The one that I probably need to be in is a combination of the educator and the contrarian. Connor feels differently. I think for you, like yours is
Top
probably
two more
the
so.
builder.
The builder and then operator secondary. I'd say.
Yeah. So again, and if there are multiple people on camera, as you said, it's okay if they're if they have different skill sets and that kind of thing. But you really got to figure out who you are, because if you don't figure out who you are and who you're kind of talking to, which we'll get into in the next thing, it doesn't feel good on camera. So the next thing, respect your stage of authority. Number 1 is unknown. Number 2, growing. Number 3, authority. Unknown for this guy's demographic is nobody knows you. It doesn't matter if you build $100 million business. If you're unknown, you're still unknown.
Yep.
If you're an absolute beginner, this problem gets a little bit further compounded because not only do you not have the $100 million business, it's just no one knows you and you haven't potentially achieved anything notable.
If you've done nothing and no one knows you. Yep.
Yeah. So the thing that's going to be really useful in your content is just like how well you think through problems and whether or not people watching you think through problems is useful to people, right? Growing is the second one. Small following. People recognize your name, but you're not the go-to authority yet. And then number 3, authority. The 1%. 1%. Personality is strong. Experience is undeniable. People follow you. So to give you a good example here, like let's say, like for us, we just started this a day ago. I have, a plaque. You have your accolades. Like we've done cool shit. This channel, we are at unknown.
Yeah.
The next step above, growing, would be something in the realm of like TBPN, right? They're not the go-to authority inside of the space yet, but people are starting to figure out who they are and like, wow, this is cool, like very sick, all that good stuff. Authority is like Hormozy. It's someone maybe even, I would even probably say Daniel Priestley is probably in like growing. He's not like authority. Who's the Diary of a CEO guy? Stephen Bartlett. Yeah. That's authority, right? Tim Cook, authority. Elon Musk, authority. I'm throwing out some really, really big names, but like I think in order to really be in that upper echelon where everyone just knows your name, it also depends on which market you're going after. If you're going for mass market, you do need mass numbers.
Yeah.
If you are maybe Daniel Priestley, who's going after higher earning people, he is the number 1 person that you want to go after if you want to learn how to be like the number 1 thinker in your space. Like that's his thing. No one else talks about it better than he does. And his audience is ultimately a smaller TAM. So in some ways you could probably consider him to be like authority in that niche. Right?
Yeah.
So figuring out and being realistic about where you are as well. Because like if we were to come on here and have conversation, and this is something that you kind of gave some pushback to me the other day. If we came in here and like we're trying to have sort of artificial conversations in the realm of authority, it would probably fall flat.
Yeah. Depends the zone that we put ourselves into, right? Again, as you're saying, if you're being a generalist and trying to talk about everything, yes, getting yourself to the position of authority is going to be, that's a big hill to climb, right? You're not going to go jump up to the Elon Musk category right out the gate. Whereas having a select or a more specific niche, micro niche of some form, and getting yourself into that, is that more achievable? Likely.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're starting out and trying to figure that out, figure out what that niche is going to be if you're going down into a niche.
Yeah.
And your intention is also to become an authority in space.
Faux show. So yeah, just kind of being realistic about where you are. Again, it's like you can tell when we're talking on camera here, like we're speaking with a certain level of confidence, a certain level of authority, just because like we know what we're talking about. So speaking with authority doesn't mean that like you like if you're in the unknown stage as a beginner, it doesn't mean that you can't come in and speak with any level of authority. That's not it at all. It's just there are different things that you need to deal with. For example, if you're in the unknown stage, you have to prove why people should listen to you. Whereas if you're in the authority stage, universal takes are things that you can post on your channel now. Like you can post like the sort of boring, like milquetoast Alex Hormozy like tweets that are like really basic business advice, and it'll still go viral.
Yeah.
Because
that's once you have an audience already. You have the audience, you have the authority, right?
And once you have the audience, but even if you have the audience, like you can say
it doesn't guarantee authority.
Yeah. Well, that's not even what I would say necessarily. It's just like if you have 0 followers, like let's say you were to just like create an account and like have it be under Jesse Massey and have like 0 followers or whatever, and I just took all of Alex Hormozy's like posts and put them on mine, like it wouldn't work because like if I was posting like work harder, work smarter, not harder. Like that could be like a very basic Alex Hormozy post.
Yeah.
But when it comes from me, people are like, who is this cringe dude like posting this milquetoast stuff that doesn't actually help me? because of the relationship that people have with Alex Hormozy. And I don't think it has necessarily to do with the numbers. It's just he's proved himself to them over and over and over and over again. He can get away with something, saying something online like work smarter, not harder, and it comes across as like really like deep and insightful. Whereas like an account that no one knows of some like guy in Pakistan like posting that is like, okay, chill, bro.
Yeah.
So anyway, going on to the next part, build your personal brand brain. Figuring out your brand identity, content pillars, visual identity, target audience. I won't spend too much time on this part. The main thing for me that I thought was the most important out of these is target audience. This was also a big conversation that we had the other day because again, I can have this part up here solved. Okay, I'm going to be the educator and the contrarian as the secondary thing. But if I don't know who I'm talking to on the other side of the camera lens, I have a real problem of figuring out like, okay, if I'm the educator, who is it to? Am I the educator to, you know, the CEO of Ridge Wallet who's doing like 100 million a year and plus in revenue? Probably not. Who's my audience, right? Sitting down, figuring out who my audience is. This was something that you even kind of had to do, and like we kind of have a collision of like different audiences as a result. But I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, and different ways we'd operate in the space.
Yeah, but figuring out who your ICP is going to really define how you approach social media entirely. Because if you're selling, you know, something related to getting more sales online on social media, let's say that's like the core of your offer. If you're going after people doing $1 million a month, you need to go in and specifically talk about like the Instagram DM sales mechanism that empowers them to do it. Whereas if you're dealing with someone who's at the very beginning of their journey, you're going to be teaching someone like a generalist course on like how to create content for Instagram. You know what I mean? It completely changes the offer. It completely changes the words that you use, all of these different things. So then the final thing, and this kind of gets to the question that you used as a segue going into this, right? The 33-33-33 content framework. I really quite like this. If you create 33% of your content around building authority, where you're posting case studies, you're sharing numbers and data, you're sharing how I helped X person do Y. 33% of it is technical. You are focusing on really like the how-to of doing something. And then number 3, you're building a relationship with the people on the other side of the camera so that they kind of understand who you are as a person. For example, like that even in a broadcast like this can be something like making jokes. Like my Charlie Munger joke, as bad taste as it was, like is a way of doing that, right? It's getting people invested, interested, keeping track of the inside jokes of sort of how things are going, what you find funny, what you find interesting, all that good stuff. 33-33-33
It's definitely good to have a split like that.
Is a good split, yeah.
Yeah, it is good to have a split. Like even like when I very first got into, you know, the online space, making money online, there was the split we went down and ended up, you know, talking to other people about, because it ended up being very, you know, profitable and helpful for us, was same kind of thing, but it was like, we called it like 3-2-1 basically. I don't know if it was we came up with it or found it from someone else, but it was like 3 pieces that were like, you know, whatever it might be, like a lifestyle or attraction marketing oriented, and then 2 pieces that were value packed, more like the technical here, right? Like you actually get something that's like of substantial value, something that like means something. They're like, oh, I can act on this, I can do something with it. And then 1 was the call to action. So we had our call to actions were in a ratio comparatively to the stuff that drew you in and made you feel good or like attracted or whatever to the offer, and a much smaller ratio of call to action to everything else. And that wasn't necessarily like the only template or the only thing that would work. That was just what we chose comparatively to what we had seen out in the marketplace, where people were putting call to actions on absolutely everything. And at the time, it just felt exhausting when I would look at some of these other content where people were putting that out at every opportunity they had, putting in their plugs, trying to get a sale, right? So having this kind of dynamic, very nice. Being able to have a bit more of a split, so you get to, you know, your personality, your values, your skill set, and all that, you know, brought in a different dimension, so people don't feel you're so one-dimensional.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think a little bit, just speaking on what you just mentioned here, if we go to Step 7, the weekly content mix. Again, I don't want to go through all of these steps here. If you want to find this post, again, find Wiz of Ecom. I'll share his. It's literally Wiz of Ecom on X. You can find it. You can find this post. It's a good post, worth going through. I don't want to spend too much time on it.
We've been spending some time on it.
Yeah. But the last thing
we're reading through the entire thing. Let's go.
We're just gonna go to step 7.
Yeah.
So with this, the thing that you want to keep in mind with what you're talking about is that a lot of different people have different opinions about like how much you should be doing call to action. Some people really think that it should be like 10 to 20%, like the Gary Vee popularized the hook.
Jab, right?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. And then some people are like, no, like you should be, if you're posting 3 times a day, do 1 call to action a day. Some people are saying, hey, dude, if you're not doing like more, if you're doing less than 10 calls to action a day, you're not like actually like trying to sell on social media. Like lots of different answers.
Yeah.
I think this is a good one to start with, just as a very basic breakdown. So if you do hot takes and opinions 2 to 3 times a week, this puts you in a position where you are trying to get more eyeballs in front of what it is that you're doing, right? If you're just posting straight value by itself, but it's like kind of like it's not engineered for virality. It's not engineered to cause discussion or disagreement. You're not going to be showing up in the algorithm, right? So spending 2 to 3 posts a week to kind of pursue that is a good approach. From there, story-based content. This builds emotional connection between yourself and your viewer. From there, 2 to 3 posts of technical value posts. This is where you're going through and like properly saying, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. This is how you do this. So that if someone goes and does that thing themselves, they start to get a sick outcome for themselves. And they're like, oh, wow, this dude is actually like cool. He knows what he's talking about. It worked for me, right? It's just engineering compliance in the back of your client's brain, right? And then from here, 1 post a week with authority/case study showing that you're building real results for real people. And then from here, 1 call to action every single week. I think if someone were to start with this methodology, it's a good place to start. And it's something that you can scale up over time. Because let's say you get to week 36 of doing this and you're like, you know what? I'm going to try and like quadruple the amount of posts that I make each week, which will quadruple the numbers that you see on your screen here. And then maybe you do that from week 36 to 40. And then into week 41, you think to yourself, okay, now I'm going to play around with like the actual like percentage split between what I'm doing. Maybe I'm going to reduce the hot takes and I'm going to do 2 or 3 times as many calls to action each week. From there, it's just a data game, right? It's really just seeing what works, what doesn't, what you want to stay away from, what you want to continue doing. And that will continue to change in the market. Sometimes doing a lot of call to actions will work really, really well. Sometimes doing a lot of call to actions will like really fucking blow and people will be mad at you and you have to sort of dial things back. But if you start off with a good baseline, like we've been talking about in step 1, 2, 3, as well as 7, and the rest of this, if you want to go through it, again, this guy's name is Mubu
Of Ecom.
Wiz of Ecom right up here. It'll put you in a good place as a good starting template that you can get started with when it comes to social media. So that brings me to the end of my social media rant. Oh man, I gotta say that took some energy. That was good. Any thoughts from you before we go on? You're feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Okay, cool. He's like, fucking please.
I was like,
Go on.
somebody save me.
From here, infinite distraction loop. I don't know if you deal with this yourself too much.
Yeah.
But, and I guess we could go into the reasons why I've dealt with this, but this last year, for example, I've really been in a place where shiny object syndrome has like really kind of took over my life inside of 2025. And I don't think it was entirely bad. I think it was necessary. But I'm wondering if this is something that you've ever run into where, again, if you even just take a look at the graphic on screen,
Yeah.
you become a newcomer. And then from there, you're like, oh shit, this is cool. I'm gonna like start working. You become the worker bee.
Yeah.
But then you start comparing yourself to other people in other domains, and you're like, oh man, that actually looks better. I feel like I could get faster results over there. And then you jump ship. Have you ever run into a situation where you've done that yourself?
I don't know if it's, yeah, I'm sure there is. I don't know if there's anything that stands out in particular, because it's part of this to me feels like also the experimentation. I mean, like how I would view it is just experimenting, right? In a sense of like, hey, you get into a certain niche, or you have an idea and you want to start building into it, and yeah, you get to a point maybe where you realize like, or you come up to a wall and you're like, oh, okay, am I going to continue pushing past this and like, really commit to being in this niche or industry or building this business or this brand, or once I've come up to that wall, yes, it can be easy to get distracted, as it's saying here, and like look around and be like, oh, what else is other people doing? Is it going to be easier over there? I'm not saying like you should not. You should be solely focused and do this. It's good to have a bit of a situational awareness and be able to look around and see if there is potentially a better path. Often, it's the grass is always greener on the other side type metaphor there, but it's not. It's not the end of the world to stop and go into another area, right? So for people who are doing this, like if you're doing it, if you've noticed a pattern and you're doing it all the time and like running up and you get to a certain level of resistance and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go jump ship and get into something else, and that's like what you're doing nonstop, it's not gonna be a healthy dynamic, and you're just not gonna get results that you want, right? Pushing through and having the commitment to really like build in one lane is gonna be what allows you to actually get the growth and become the person who gets whatever you originally stepped into that lane for.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like, I don't think it's bad to go do that, but this guy in this example here, he got a degree of results inside of the category he was in, and then he would jump ship because he thought it was better somewhere else. As you were saying beforehand, you gave 3 examples of like, hey, is this something that
you like, that you're good
like,
at, and that people will pay for.
Exactly. And then sometimes people don't consider that enough ahead of time. And then when you're in it, you realize, oh, maybe this category over here would be something that actually would light me up, that I can bring value to, that I can talk about and be in that lane every day, or talk about, bring value to 365 days of the year, and then actually get paid for it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. I think a lot of people watching this, if they're kind of at the beginning of their journey or whatever, probably are in a place where they do hop from project to project, right? And I think there's a common belief in our society that if you're doing that, you're kind of just being lazy. And I think there is some truth to that to a certain degree. Like you're just not really committing anything, and you kind of want to just cosplay as like as a founder, as an entrepreneur or whatever. But if I look back at the last year on my end, I'm not kidding you, I've pivoted like 20 to 30 times. And I think the reason for that is because a lot of the time, and in fact, no, I would say like 99% of the time, I'm not kidding you, until this project, everything that I started up, I didn't ultimately end up liking. Mm-hmm. And the question there is whether or not I was willing to turn off that part of my brain around liking something in order to just push through and make money. And again, for how I'm built, I don't know if I can do that. My other brand that I built out, I enjoyed doing it until I didn't, right?
And it depends, again, what you're doing it for, right? Mm-hmm. Is it for short-term gain, or you're just looking for...
Right, it's like the reality of the situation.
The reality is that there's so much other context around it that would be relevant to determining whether it was like, hey, you failed and like you should have just stuck to it, or hey, you made the right decision by jumping ship, right? There's other context that's relevant there. Are you trying to make money right here, right now, right? And then you're okay, just...
eating shit and doing
eating
whatever.
shit for a little bit, right? But you're not going to build like anything like large or substantial that's going to feed you for the next 10 years, right? And you're okay. You just need to get paid, right? Yep. And then that's it. Then you do that, you succeed to a degree, and then it kind of dies out, and then you jump ship, right? If that is what it is, it's like it's not the end of the world. I don't think people need to beat themselves up over it, though it is absolutely something that's very tempting with the amount of content that's going on out there trying to seduce you into, hey, this way it's quick and easy, and like vibe coded this app in like 4 hours, and now I just made 10K before the weekend was done, right?
Yeah. Which again is mostly a lie most of the time, and people are pulling you to their shiny object with something that's just completely made up. I will ask this: in the times where you found yourself pivoting and pivoting and pivoting, did you ever feel like it got to a place where it started to become like not useful and unhealthy. Because I think there was a point this year where I appreciated most of the pivots that I did.
Yeah.
And like again, if my younger self saw me pivot this much this year, my younger self would have been like, bro, you're just being lazy, like nut up. But like I appreciate most of the pivots that I did this year until a certain point where I started to realize that like I was just doing it because like in a way it was like almost like a coping mechanism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was a point. And luckily that like point really only lasted like a week or two until I was like, okay, like I actually need to chill and like like do something.
Yeah.
But like have you ever run into that situation where you just are grinding your gears in order to like not actually have to do anything hard? Because like I think that's the point at which I got to like myself this year.
Where you're avoiding doing the actual work.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Like if I were to think over the past several years, it's a different dynamic for me because I got myself to a point financially where I was comfortable enough and I could just like I could live and I didn't have the stresses or concerns if I needed to pay bills, right? So when you don't have that, it's a bit of a different energy that you can come at it. Like some people will absolutely still have that hunger and they want to drive through. For me, I was like I've been just like laid back and like chilling. So that's where my dynamic was like I shifted to it's experimental, right? And like
So anything you do is
I was
is
comfy.
gonna
I was
yield
comfy
some
and casual
results.
with it. Exactly. Of just if I go through and play or like tinker around with something to a degree, and then I'm like, oh, this isn't something I'm going to work with anymore, or I see a much greater opportunity over here. Then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm comfortable just moving because there wasn't a need for me to actually push through in any of that in those moments in order to cover my costs or like make sure that me or my family were okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it's because I've had that luxury again. It's like I was able to I spend time just looking into what I wanted to do. Right.
Yeah.
Now again, if I was in a different situation and I had to make something work, then yeah, I would probably hold resentment towards myself if I was doing that, if I was jumping ship a whole bunch. Because obviously you're like, whoa, if I could have put all that energy into one thing and actually made it move, like,
I'd be much farther ahead by now.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel yeah.
All those what ifs.
Yeah, for sure. I think what you're saying is 100% correct. I think what would I say? I was gonna say something. I forgot. This is gonna be like a thing that happens like every single day. Like I'm gonna forget one thing like per cast where I just lose my train of thought.
That's fair. And then there'll be like a 30 minute period where I just sit and like I listen to you talk about some of the marketing side of things, and I'm like,
very interesting. Let me check my watch.
yeah,
Yeah. No. I think. It was this. Yeah, I think I am a bit of a prima donna bitch just based on like where I am in my life at this point. But it is kind of like an earned luxury to a certain degree. Because like I'm able to be a bit of a prima donna bitch by thinking to myself, okay, like the real thing that clicked for me and part of the reason why I started looking for a co-founder, for example, is like there needs to be a social element to what it is that I do. This was true when I was a violinist. It was even true with the brand that I built. Like when I was working with your wife, when I was working with other contractors.
Yeah.
Like I felt like alive. Like I felt like I was like with other people doing other things.
Yeah.
That being said, I've done an office job before. That wasn't it.
yeah,
Either there's something about like creating something and being the decision maker with someone else but like kind of like
yeah.
bringing something into fruition, right? And my prima donna bitch self, I think the reason why I pivoted as much as I did this year is just because I was really trying to kind of build it in an isolated silo. I think any one of these projects earlier this year, I won't say all of them, but there were definitely a couple of projects where if I would have had like a co-founder working on it, I would have been able to continue. But part of the reason why I say I'm glad that I pivoted as much as I did this year is because like by doing so, I feel like I learned a lot more about what is actually valuable in an offer, what is actually valuable when it comes to like figuring out how to convert attention into interest and interest into an actual sale. Like previously when my previous brand blew up, I was really just depending on a bunch of contractors to kind of run it for me. And like, it felt good. It felt like I was like in charge or whatever. But like this year, based on how many pivots I've made and like just figuring out what would actually be a good offer to launch and what wouldn't be, I'm significantly more sophisticated as like a business owner than I was like a year ago, and that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't sat in the room by myself and pivoted from thing to thing as much as I did up until a certain point.
Yeah. So you didn't gain value you didn't gain the reputational thing of, hey, I built $100 million business, in this time frame, but you gained personal value by, tapping into more the other dimensions of business that maybe you hadn't been focused on as much, and have a greater understanding across niches, right? So there's, it potentially is what it sounds, or that's how I interpreted what you're saying, right?
I just wouldn't be able to sit in front of this camera and have like as many thoughts about like as many different things if I hadn't sat in this room, literally this room for the last year, like thinking through these problems as far as I possibly.
You're a little more worldly in a digital manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I understand the process in which business is done a lot better than even when I was making seven figures from the projects that I was working on.
Yeah.
I think I had the luxury during that time of just having enough eyeballs that like you can monetize anything. But again, the market's changed. And on top of that, I was depending on other people's structures. This is why I was paying a sales team 33%. That's crazy high.
Yeah.
I should have been paying my setter, depending on the setup that I had. With the setup that I had, certainly, I should have been paying my setter 5%. Should have been paying my closer 10%. Maybe the sales manager an additional 10% if I was being like really, really generous. That would have saved me 8% right out of the gate, which is significant based on the amount of like revenue that we were doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. As a result of just kind of going through, having a lot of conversations with other people in the space, seeing what they do, seeing how they charge things, seeing how they build things, seeing how they build out their systems, and applying that to, again, just sitting in this room, just trying to bang my head against a fucking wall for like 13 months.
Yeah.
Now I can sit here and have conversations in a much stronger way. And
So is there a framework or something that we have for people who are maybe experiencing this, or
yeah, I would say it depends.
do we just say like nut up or shut up and just like stay in your lane and like let's
Yeah. I would say
suck it up, buttercup?
in order to figure out how you approach this problem yourself, you have to figure out whether or not you're using the idea of being a business owner and cosplaying that role. You need to figure out if you're doing that as a coping mechanism or if you're actually here to build real value, right? If you're here to like cosplay and to pretend like you're the next Iman Gotzi because like your life ultimately isn't going the way that you want it to and you need some sort of cosplay to make it feel like you're making progress, maybe stick to one thing. Because if you're in that place where you are cosplaying, it's a pretty good indication that you don't have skills. And I don't mean that in a rude way, right? It's just you're in a place where you're not delivering real value. And you're probably not in a place where you can deliver real value as of yet. And the way that you can get yourself out of figuring out whether or not you're going to continue cosplaying as a coping mechanism or just exit entrepreneurship altogether and just get a job, which, by the way, if you look at the numbers on this, people who get a job and earn a salary over the course of 10 years, as long as they manage their money effectively, they are significantly wealthier than the majority of entrepreneurs, right? This is like just a statistical fact.
Yeah.
Now, if you find out that like you've just consumed a bunch of Iman Gotzi and Hamza and Andrew Tate and like Alex Hormozi content, not that Hormozi is like a bad guy, is cool. But like, if you've consumed all this content and you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is how I'm going to be a baller, but you're not actually psychologically set up to be a founder, force yourself. And if you don't know the answer to that question, force yourself to work on one thing for like 6 months, 12 months, and then see if you can come back and answer the question for yourself. If you hate being a founder at the end of that, you're going to have a pretty good piece of data that tells you that you should get a salary and that you shouldn't pivot. If you are in a place where either you get to that 6 month point or you already have the data and you know that you are like, you're a founder, that's what you do, you maybe have some previous success, maybe you're in between projects, or maybe you're at the beginning, but you just know you're a founder. Feel free to pivot, because the more you can pivot, the more you're going to realize what it is that you like, because most of the time when you start a new project, you don't know if you're going to like it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's probably the way that I would answer it. It just kind of depends on what utility being a founder provides for you in your life.
It feels very, I think you love split testing things as well, right? In a sense, like that's what it feels like a little bit to me, which is great and can work for, for some people. like for me, the thought of if I were to like say something to somebody like what you're gonna do like moving forward, if they're at a point where like they really like you need to make a change or something in your life, thinking, oh yeah, like I'm gonna get into this for like 6 months and then like reevaluate. Like absolutely, at any point in your life, go ahead and like reevaluate and see what is working and what is not working, and be able to make changes and pivots as you need to. But for me, I've always said to people, I'm like, you have no plan B, right? It's like you need to have like your one plan, like it's as far as directionally, right? Not as far as like, oh, this is the exact business structure that I'm going to use to get the life that I want to have. That's that can pivot and adjust as we're talking about here. It's not necessarily a distraction if it's directionally taking you where you want to go.
But have a North Star of like what your life generally, what you want your life to generally look like.
Exactly, and or things that you're just not going to accept. Like for me, it was like over a decade ago, I hit a point where I was like, I am not going to accept working for anybody ever again. And then I was like, that was it. And then I'm like, okay, now how do I figure out how I make that happen? How do I become my own boss? How do I build my own revenue streams independent of any other structures or somebody telling me what I can and cannot do, right? Oh, the internet's here. Yeah, you have the ability to go take control of your life and do something with it, right? Whether that's through AI automations or building out your own agents or whatever, or YouTube or the shorts, long form, all of it. These are all different things. There's just so many different aspects out there. We didn't drop this one thing in here, but I wanted to that Somalian business we got right now.
Let's pull it up. Yeah.
I don't know if that's in there. It's not actually one we clicked up, but it was just in relation to that, as far as the distractions go, it's like it was a fun little image because it was just showing what's been on in the news right now. It's like, oh yeah, do I go and go make money in crypto or AI or whatever it is, or do I go down this pathway? And then it was like, oh, what the actual best pathway is just starting a
Somalian daycare
in Minnesota.
Yeah.
As far as some interesting news that's been going on.
I'm curious, when did you know what your North Star was? Like, how old were you? Like, when did you start? I shouldn't even ask that. Like, for me, for example, when I was 18, I thought I had a really strong North Star. But I just, looking back on it, I just didn't have the brain capacity to really determine what my North Star was. And on top of that, I didn't have enough data in terms of me running into reality over and over and over again to determine whether or not that North Star was applicable.
Yeah.
My North Star was to be the concertmaster of a major American orchestra. And then the data ended up telling me over time that I did not have the physical capability of doing that. In the same way where someone might be really talented at basketball, be in the top 5% of players. But it doesn't matter, because if you're going to be in the NBA, you need to be in the top 0.01% of players. 5% isn't good enough. That's where I found myself with. And when I was 18, I didn't have that data. So as a result of that, I didn't really start trying to figure out what my North Star was until just because of other life instances, 28, 29.
Yeah.
When was it for you?
I don't know if I'd say I clearly defined what my North Star was at any point in time in this process of oh, this is exactly what it is.
But even the not working for someone,
it was freedom oriented, right? And that was something I was aware of, but I couldn't really define as a child even, right? It was when I was a little kid, I was just sitting in classrooms and teachers trying to teach me something. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? I'm like, why am I sitting in this classroom right now? Right. So there was just something about these structures and things. I was like, why is my time and energy going into this? And then it was afterwards, it was oh, what am I going to get into a career, as far as a career path? And I'm like, well, I didn't want to go work in a job or sit behind a laptop, which is actually funny because I've been doing a whole bunch of time behind a laptop in my life. But it's interesting when it's different when you get to choose it versus hey, you have to show up and work
and do
the thing. And then I was like, oh well, what's something I can just be I can be a badass in and feel relatively free in. And I was like, oh well, firefighting was the thing that kind of stood out to me. Besides the cool videos of guys who are in the military and running around and jumping onto planes and stuff. I was like that. As a boy,
better to fight fire rather than the Taliban.
Yeah, I was like, fire just sits there. Right? I mean, there's other things going on too, but it's not shooting back.
But equally as masculine, right? You still get the payoff, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you get the reward. The sexiness is there. Yeah. But it was again still that too for me. It was there was a question in my head is why am I still I'm happy to do a service and like provide value to the community in that sense. But I was like, still, why am I putting my time and energy towards something that I'm like, I don't necessarily know if I actually want to be doing this, right? So I'm like, what is it that I want to do? And I'm like, well, I just want to be free to pick and choose what I want to do and like just live, right? And that's something I think a lot of us have forgotten. And I don't know, that was the inner child in me that stayed alive and allowed me to at least not completely let go of that. There's times where I disconnected from it and I went down certain paths where I was like starting to lose my soul gradually. But it was there strong enough, I guess, that I was able to be pulled back to the point where I'm like, I just wanted to determine my own reality.
Yeah. Well, I think the final thing that I'll say about this before we move on to the next one is like, again, having that North Star for sure. And that North Star can develop over time. My North Star has changed many, many times. But like, I feel like my North Star does a good job of governing my life for about 5 or 6 years at a time. And then there's a new North Star.
Yeah.
And I think whether you do the A/B test, whether you like be like, no, this is like how my life needs to go, whatever. The thing to keep in mind again is just like with anything that you put your time and energy towards, what do you like? What are you good at? And what will people pay you for?
Yeah.
If you're in a place where like just psychologically you're oriented for freedom, just find the thing where those 3 things are taken care of and really be real with yourself about whether or not, number one, like what it is that you're doing you're good at. Because if you delude yourself into thinking that you're good at something that you're not, the market's going to tell you very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And number 2, spend a lot of time trying to figure out what people actually consider to be valuable in the market. That's the thing that, even if you pivot from project to project, figuring out those 2 things and like being like laser focused on that over the course of 6 to 12 months will make you so much more dangerous. Yeah. Or if you go in the A/B test direction because you just don't know, again, still keep those 3 things in the back of your pocket. Next one?
Yep.
Okay. From here, let's take a look at this. Coming from someone who owns a TikTok shop creator agency. I don't know if I want to go into this one.
Because you're going to be talking again the whole time.
Not that. It's just, I don't know if it's like super interesting. Hold on. 99% brands of TikTok in any category are losing a lot of dollars in TikTok. Oh, actually, this might actually be interesting. This has to do with how people are utilizing TikTok Shop and how they're conceptualizing their sales funnels. I thought this one was interesting because I think most people look at TikTok Shop and they're like, oh, I'm going to launch a brand and I'll launch it on TikTok Shop and I'll be making like so much money, blah, 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 right? So this is coming from a guy named Jimmy Farley. This guy owns something called Creators Corner, which is where a lot of creators go in. I don't know if this is still their business model, but this is where they go in and learn how to do TikTok Shop as affiliates. And then he actually works as a brand representative agency where big companies come to him and they're like, hey, do you have any creators who can work on our campaign? And then I think he takes a cut. I think that's his business model.
Nice.
So coming from someone who, is working with agencies of 150 million or more, blah, 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 this is actually spot on. I'm just realizing that we have to like read this. So there is no profit to be made on TikTok shops. Everyone telling you to get on in 2026 is lying through their teeth. Now, to be clear, this Brock guy is talking about this not as people who want to get into the affiliate side of TikTok shops, but if you want to run your own brand on TikTok shops. So what Jimmy Farley is saying here in response to that is this is spot on. It's virtually impossible to be profitable on TikTok shop and be maximizing growth. And the reason for this is he goes through the different payouts and the cuts that the brands need to pay out. But essentially, this is like running a not profitable offer on the front end of your funnel in the hope that people continue coming back over time. And most of the time, when a lot of these aspiring brand owners and entrepreneurs are like, oh, I'm going to launch my brand on TikTok Shop, they're trying to do it with some sort of like drop shipping product, or maybe they're manufacturing some sort of like food item or supplement item or whatever. But they think that TikTok Shop is going to be the end all be all of where they get all of their traffic. And if you depend on that, it sounds like with the way things are currently going, you're going to be in the red 100% of the time, unless you build out different subscription mechanisms via Amazon. You drive your TikTok Shop traffic to Amazon, to a website, to any of these like more established platforms, where again you're not so focused on growth, you're focused on retention. And most of these guys go into the TikTok shop brand scaling niche of the market, and they come out very disheartened because they just thought TikTok shop was going to change everything for them.
But is that what it's saying? Like here it says 99% of brands in the top 20 of TikTok in any category. So the top 20 are the top 20 that are of already like the revenue generating ones in there, or top 20 as far as views.
For example, let me grab this. I was thinking of doing part of my endless pivot at the end of 2024. So this was actually properly a year ago now. I was thinking about doing TikTok shop because I'm a good creator. All these different things. So this brand that was really popping off back then is called Nello. This is not a brand read for them, but like I had this shipped from the U.S. in order to try and do something with it. And these guys were blowing the fuck up. Like they were doing crazy revenue. And I think what he's saying here is like even brands like that, they're all running in a way where they're losing money. And the reason for this is because in order to attract the best affiliates in the space to come and work on their campaigns, they had like Nello, last time I looked, was running a campaign that felt like sort of like an MLM. Like if you get to this point, like you get a Tesla. Like they're giving out like free cars to people, to their top affiliates. They're doing like $100,000 payouts in the event that you reach like a certain like bonus threshold and you're the first person to do it. So they're committing a lot of money because this is a growth engine at the end of the day. It's not a retention engine. They're doing that on other platforms. Does that answer the question that you were asking, or?
Not entirely. But
What were you saying?
Yeah, no, I was just trying to understand the metric, how he grabbed the top 20, but I get it.
Yeah, no, it's just like all the major brands who are doing this are able to do it because they have enough money to run.
But when they're doing things like this, when they're giving away Teslas or whatever it might be, they'll have that baked into their margins.
Yeah, because they've done the economics on the back end, whereas most people who are entering TikTok shop aren't
as
doing
a
the
smaller
economics on
creator, as a smaller business owner coming in with a new.
They're just thinking that we're gonna get started on TikTok Shop. We're gonna scale over there. We're gonna make a lot of money. We're gonna be profitable just on TikTok Shop, and it just doesn't end up working that way. So it's just yet another example. Regardless of what you do, whether you're trying to use affiliate marketing in order to make sales, whether you're trying to do Facebook ads, whether you're trying to put a lot of money into organic content, like we spent some time talking about today, you gotta be able to get at least 4 or 5 months worth of data from like sales and conversions on the back end in order to make a strong decision about the economics of like how you run things on the front end and how much of a deficit you're willing to like build up on the front end because you know it'll work out on the back end. And the only way to do that is to get success pretty early on with whatever it is that you're selling and to find product market fit quickly. Because if you don't have that, there's no way to get to month 4 of your data to then make a decision about how to run the front end. If you go in without thinking about any of these things and you're like, oh, I'm going to sell something on TikTok Shop, it's not a realistic way of doing business. So, next one. No, this one's about management. I want to skip this one.
Yeah. All right.
And I think we'll watch this one quickly. And again, this is going to be another situation where I haven't figured out the video audio thing quite yet, so we're just going to read it. I thought this post was an interesting one because this guy goes and talks about the incentives that venture capitalists have and how those don't necessarily line up with founders. I think most people who are thinking about, oh, should I bootstrap this? Should I go and get funding? They generally think that if they're going to go and work, like get VC funding or an angel investment, that the incentives on the side of the VC align with their incentives, because it's just like, oh, well, if my business works, then everything's great.
Yeah.
Like it's money for them, money for me, all that good stuff. But that is not actually. That's not actually the case, because the point that this guy makes in this video. Oh shit! I just opened your WhatsApp. Let me close that. Yeah, this is on my computer. Can you
open your WhatsApp? Right?
Yeah, open my WhatsApp. Actually, I don't need it. The point that I'm going to make is this: when it comes to VCs, Their general preference is if they give you money, they want you to keep working basically until things completely fall off the rails and you just completely run out of money. Getting to what we were just talking about a second ago, pivot, 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 pivot. They would rather you be there and try. Let's say they give you money for a product that is ultimately just never going to go anywhere, right? You don't find product market fit at the beginning. There's not a lot of just early traction with what it is that you're doing, and then from there, you're just like banging your head against a wall, trying to make a product that just doesn't really have product market fit work. And you do that over the course of like 2 or 3 years. His argument is that
So you're saying the VCs there in that example are going to say, no,
Just stick it out.
Let's not pivot. You're staying right here.
Well,
in your
let's
your
pivot.
spot.
Let's pivot, but let's
But inside of like not enough that it's like
let's not just go to a new project and
Yeah.
try and make something happen. And the reason for that is because when they go and do their quarterly or annual presentation to their limited partners, the limited partners don't like to see when a project just shuts down completely, even if the sensible thing to do is to do that. They like to see that the companies are chugging along, even if you've spent 3 years trying to accomplish something that is ultimately like prone to just failure. Because to them, that's a sign that the way that the fund is being deployed is it's active.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of companies in the portfolio shutting down all over the place. The investors have continue to have strong confidence, and as a result of that, that paired with the fact that VCs ultimately invest in like 20 different companies, with the expectation that 1 or 2 are going to produce enough returns that it takes care of the other 18 companies. Again, the incentive on their end is to keep you hacking away at a problem that may not be solvable in the first place. And if you are a really, really ambitious founder yourself, having those 2, 3, 4 years of your life given to you so that you have the freedom to pivot in the way that you need to is ultimately the kind of freedom that you want to keep yourself like you want to maintain that freedom for yourself, essentially, because if you do the VC route, you would think that they would be happy to just like help you pivot to the next project as quickly as possible, because like they want to find the winning idea as much as possible, but they care less about like having you find your winning product
specific
then they care about the
portfolio.
limited partners
It's the
and the
portfolio for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. That was
think it
something that we
is.
were even thinking
Yeah.
about with this project. Hey, do we raise? And like, I think already, let's say, like this is fun. We're kind of throwing ideas back and forth, like live on air. It's going well. But let's say we got into this and it was just dog shit. And we had like raised money for this. It would really suck to be in a position where the expectation was that we just grind this out for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Without having any real data of whether or not it works in the market. This is our second episode. We don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we have no idea. And on top of that, whether or not we like it and whether or not we're good at it. I can't. I know there's a theoretically like a pitch deck and a pitch to an investor should indicate that you are well suited to all of these different things. But from all of the pivoting that I've done this last year, I've realized that like I've started a number of things where I thought it was perfectly suited for what it is that I wanted to do and what I thought I could sell in the market, and just one piece of data just like didn't add up. And there's no way to get that data until you start doing it. No amount of forecasting is going to work in the way that it needs to. So it was just, I don't know, raising money seems like it's a bit of a.
I mean, there's a lot of people who
Bit of a shitty
will
thing.
be in that position where like that's what they feel like they need to do. They have no other option, no other pathway. But it is definitely something to consider, to be able to look at it a little bit more through the eyes of the actual venture capitalists. If you're coming in as the founder or wanting to be the head or CEO of a project, right? That you think about through their lens as well, right?
Yeah. And I
In
think
relation to you.
I think when it comes to projects that you are looking to pitch to VCs, something that VCs ultimately say is like they're more likely to invest in something that has a little bit of traction and like that you already have made some progress in the project than if it's something that's completely in the ideation stage. And I think probably from their perspective, like the fact that you've sat down and worked on this for a couple of months and you're still working on it
Yeah.
is an indication to them that, hey, like this person has maybe solved whether they're good at it, whether they like it, and maybe they haven't perfectly solved the product market fit, but maybe we can do that if we provide them the marketing capability to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's why these guys generally like to invest in things that are kind of already off the ground. I'm just trying to think of like the incentive structure on their end of like what they're trying to think about, but yeah, I don't know if you like it, if you're good at it, but there's just not product market fit, it would just suck to work on something for like 4 years or 5 years. That would be like my nightmare because it doesn't give a lot of flexibility. Okay. From here, I think the final thing. I think the final two we can combine into one.
Yeah.
The end of the program, and who knows if we continue with this, but I think the end of the program would be useful to give the viewers some ideas of what are being built, what can be built inside of the market based on the changes with tech coming down the pike. I think a lot of these guys who are watching us, who are going to watch us, are at the beginning of like their BizOp journey, at the beginning of their e-com journey. Like they didn't necessarily go like the Silicon Valley like Y Combinator route. They're trying to kind of do like the scale your own offer
Figure
online.
it out on your own. Yep.
And while that is a great way to get started, staying inside of that industry over a long period of time, I think, at least to me, lacks a little bit of vision. Would you agree with that first statement to begin with? I think you would. I think you have some very strong opinions on that.
That it lacks vision to.
If you were to just stay in BizOp
Yeah.
for the entirety of your life, do you think that lacks vision?
No, I mean, that doesn't. I mean, you don't have to have vision to have a good life, right? Again, it depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
For me personally, there's a little more satisfaction to have the mental stimulation, I guess, of kind of where we're at in the world right now, and where this example is showing is a little bit of bringing sci-fi into the world that we actually know, right?
And that to me, like for example, if you have the business wherewithal that you build as a result of doing BizOp, and you're really good at marketing, really good at sales, in my mind, it seems like everyone kind of gets to a place in their career where you kind of start to ask yourself, okay, like what do I build next? And maybe how does that play into the question of like, what do we build next? Where do we want like society to go? Do we want to sell more courses on like how to like, scale like a crypto, like pump and dumps or whatever?
Yeah.
Or do we want to try and commit our expertise in sales and marketing to stuff that kind of drives things forward in like society in sort of an exciting way? And I think the two ways that I thought were interesting that were talked about online this last day that kind of get into this is Anduril's founder, Palmer Luckey. Do you know this guy?
I don't actually. No.
Yeah, you should check him out. Anduril, do you know what Anduril is? This is like completely up your alley. You would love this shit. Or maybe not. Maybe it's not. But like he's a private defense contractor in the U.S. who has privatized a lot of what like Lockheed Martin was doing with like these bloated government contracts, and he's coming in and doing it for significantly less in a way where it's like set up properly for the future, so that if we get into a drone war with China, like we have the drone manufacturing capabilities to like go toe to toe with them. So it's
makes sense. In a sense. I mean, I was seeing also like Israel the other day was talking about how they're going to open up more of their own, put a bunch of money into the private military sector, I think it was, or private weapons, right? So a lot more of that, rather than like we've always seen like, hey, there's a couple major contractors which countries are leaning on. The thing is right now, with some of this tech, we're having the ability to have a much smaller group of people come together and start creating their own weapons even. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know the specifics of the Israeli announcement on that front, but I wouldn't be surprised if Anduril was involved in that some way. They're kind of the most exciting defense manufacturer in the U.S. doing stuff around the world. Exciting might be the wrong word, but you know what I mean. So this guy is talking about the bioengineering in defense. So what?
So he's saying it when I watched this video. He's saying it in such a comedic manner, right?
Yeah,
This
that's kind of
this
that's kind of
joke.
his
This is
personality.
personality,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of a quirky dude. He wears like Hawaiian like shirts to like everything that he does, and he's a bit of a nerd.
Nice.
But at the end of the day, his company is named after something from Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Right. So this is general view of things. So again. Palmer Luckey on the future of bioengineering in defense. You could give every canine unit the characteristics of the strongest Arctic wolf that has ever walked the earth. Now, that might sound a little bit woo-woo. I don't know if you saw this a few weeks ago, but that company came out and announced that they had created the first dire wolf.
Yeah, that was like 6 months ago or something like that.
Yeah.
At least I think that they had done that. Yeah,
and part
That's
of
awesome.
the critique there was that it's like, oh, it's not a real dire wolf,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's close enough. Shut up,
Yeah.
like it's cool, you know. So from there, he goes on to say, I'm really excited about engineered biologics.
yeah, biologics.
Biologics, Jesus, that's a strange word, for defense application.
Yeah.
Muscles that go in machines are going to be a really big deal. Self-powered scavenging robots that can live off of grass. Radio relays that roam the planet. Another big one.
Why do they need to live off grass though?
Well, part of the idea there is if you basically build a radio transmitter that can move itself around, and the way that it powers itself is it consumes grass like a lawnmower,
Yeah.
but then like digests the grass inside and then releases the methane and then uses the methane in order to like power the engine.
Yeah.
That's something that you can
You need that to fuel the muscles.
yeah, power the thing day and night when there's no sunlight, for example. So the other thing that he said,
Fuel source. Yep.
yeah, the other thing that he was talking about is another one is the extinction of work species. You think that German shepherds that weigh 150 pounds are good canine units? Well, how about dire wolves that are 600-pound canines carrying 150 pounds of armor? So again, is this a little bit out there? Maybe, but I do think that it's kind of worth putting in the back of your head that the skills that you're learning now when it comes to social media, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to business in general, these are the types of things that you could apply this expertise to moving into the future. That I don't know. I think maybe I do have a stronger opinion on it. I feel like using BizOp as the gateway drug into doing something like real that is like very pro-West, pro-American, pro-Canadian. We love the Canadians. That moves society forward instead of just being like, okay, like what's the next offer that I can just like pump up over the next 6 months? I don't know. I think something that people are lacking at the moment is like this is not while they might have the North Star for their own lives. I think having that North Star of their lives be somewhat related to like society and what society needs, what society would benefit from, what would benefit the people around them, what would benefit their communities, is a conversation worth having as well, and keeping in the back of your head at the very least as you go through the BizOp journey. I don't know. What do you think? You're like, nah, fuck society.
I mean, yeah, but just to get ourselves like aligned in some manner, being able to put the human energy, our consciousness directed towards certain things, right? That would be interesting to see that done, rather than like something that actually is meaningful. I don't know, but I don't know if this is what we're looking for. Is more just
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, I don't know if like
just
600-pound
to come
dire
take
wolves
over,
to
like,
go eat Afghanis
that
is not the thing.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Why are they eating the Afghanis though?
But that's where we're going to deploy them. Okay, that's where we're going to send them.
Yeah. Maybe ship them to another planet and get them to start building infrastructure there.
Yeah, but on that level of things, people are talking about putting data servers in space because it's much more effective to process compute up there or whatever.
Yep.
Another thing that I could pull up, but I'm not going to. I think again, taking all of the skills that you're learning now and applying it to some sort of thing that applies to the brave new world that we're heading into. I don't know. I think it puts into perspective why you're learning skills outside of something of just like, let me get my bag, which is what I think a lot of money Twitter, a lot of the BizOp spaces just ultimately just has been for the last like 10, 15 years.
Yeah, a good amount of it's lacking that vision, is what you're
It's,
saying.
it's lack
is
of
what
vision.
you're saying. In a
Yeah.
sense.
And
Yeah.
again, it's not about like the dire wolves necessarily. It's just about like, hey, look, like there are cooler things out here that you are probably well suited to do. Maybe not as the founder, let's
Yeah.
say, but to be brought on as like a CMO who could like scale the shit out of a dire wolf like company.
Yeah.
Like, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
You know, so just things to keep in the back of your head, I think. I think that brings us to the end of the pod. Any final thoughts you want to throw in? Any kind tidings of joy you want to throw in for the start of the new year?
Yeah, Happy New Year. This year, right now, oh man, I don't know. There's we're at a point where I feel like there's just you can do so much. Like you can come in like me, I'm tuning myself back into the business space here and like everything that's going on and the opportunity with AI to go and develop something, right? You can and not ideally just have it be a copy and paste of what somebody else has done, but to actually come in and like think of an idea and be able to now have access to the tools that we did not have access to several years ago is just such an exciting time to actually be here, right? There's a lot of doom and gloom on the timeline or what people are talking about, but you have the ability to just like tune that out, shift out of that, make this year something that can actually be pimp and change your life if you direct your energy.
Can actually be
towards-
pimp?
Man,
Hell yeah, dude.
Pimp
That's
it.
cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it. I've never heard you say that. That's cool.
Send Bob's.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, Bob's. Yeah. Pimp and Bob's.
Pimp and Bob's.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think the thing that I would say for 2026 is, you know, let's draw a parallel to Bitcoin. Bitcoin came out 2009. I think this is our Bitcoin 2011 moment. It's not 2009, but it's 2011 when it comes to, you know, AI and what's possible. And I think, you know, part of the reason, you know, you're kind of like coming, I don't want to say that you've been in like retirement or whatever, but that you're like kind of getting back onto the
I've been
scene.
telling people I've been retired.
Hell yeah. Okay,
So-
cool. So yeah, you're coming out of retirement. Part of the reason you're doing that is because like you just understand that there's you see the writing on the wall and you're understanding that this is like the Bitcoin 2011
Totally, yeah.
moment, and you're gonna have to wait another 20 years for whatever next cycle, and you don't really want to wait that long.
Yeah.
So now's the time, and I think for everyone listening, like take that to heart. This is the year that you can either, you know, do a couple of things. Double down, go super far down a rabbit hole in the realm of AI, in the realm of vibe coding, in the realm of any of these exciting technologies. This is the year where maybe you can answer the question for yourself whether or not you want to be a founder or not. And if you do want to be the founder, how you pivot from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing until it takes care of all three things that we're talking about while being as responsible as you can, not investing in stupid ass courses, not to say that all courses are stupid, but being mindful about what programs you enter in order to get the education that you feel like you need in order to take the next step, so that you're taking care of your nest egg, so that you're adhering to the Warren Buffett advice, where you're being mindful of your losses so that you can focus more on your gains, so that everything works out mathematically. I think that's the kind of 2026 I would love for you. I would love for you. I would love for me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you tie all of the topics from a show together with
That was a
bow.
beautiful little Buffett wrap up.
Yeah, straight up. And
Yeah.
also build a personal brand. We'll add that in as an addendum.
But
or
we'll be
don't.
back. We'll touch on that some more. 'Cause
Yep.
That's not a one session complete all.
Warren Buffett.
No, the personal.
I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
We'll come back to Warren Buffett every day. We're going to pay our homage every single day. Okay, guys, cool. Well, enjoy
The reason we're here.
holidays. Happy New Year to the East Coast in
Holidays,
the
what are you
United
talking
States
about?
in 1 hour.
Oh.
No, 1 minute. Literally 1 minute.
We know about holidays. Do people get this off? People don't get this off, do they? Is it actual holiday? No, it's get to work. It's a new year. It's like build
No,
something.
I mean, yeah. Well, okay. Well, I guess it's up to you. We'll talk about this tomorrow.
Hustle
Okay.
and grind culture. Dang,
Yeah.
let's go.
All right, kids. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.